Good morning to you, Guyana. How are you doing today? Whether you're in Guyana, whether you're in the diaspora, as long as you're Guyanese, whether you're Guyanese by birth or you're Guyanese by naturalization, we welcome you to today's edition of the In Perspective Show. Today is Friday, Friday, and this is the last show of the week. Like we usually do, Guyana. Well, I'm envious this morning. If not for the entire day, I'm envious this morning because the temperature in Guyana is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Here in New York City, the temperature is 63 degrees. I got up. I saw. No, I didn't. I looked through the window this morning at work, and I saw one of my friends out on the sidewalk, and she was waving and she was asking me if I was cold, and I said, no, I'm warm. And she was saying it was cold. I couldn't understand what she was telling me, really, how cold it would have been. But then when I stepped outside a little while after, then I realized it was chilly. And checking the temperature at the time, they were saying it was 52 degrees. So we have a chilly day today here in New York. The temperature is going to warm up gradually. I'm not sure where we're going to get to for the day. They said 70 degrees, is it? Yep, 70 degrees, the high today. So it's not going to be one of those hot days, a break from the 80 degrees and above temperature. Um, we're having a very good show today, and today may be the beginning of many other good days. Many other good days. They say good things come to those who wait, and they also said good things come wrapped in small packages. We're going to talk a little bit about the airline industry in the main, and then we're going to also have a little discussion on some medical perspectives, medical prospectives. Are we going to bring all into perspective today? There was after the APNU AFC administration went into office, there was a hope that Guyana would have had its flag carrier once again. But it seemed as though for a while it's not gonna be, or at that time it looked as though it was gonna be, but now not yet in coming to fruition. I want to take us back to the days of the GAC. For those of us who were born back then, and you know what we enjoyed in those days, the GAC, or the Guyana Airways Corporation, was initially a state-owned internal flight facility in Guyana. It gradually expanded to accommodate flights around the Caribbean, and then in the mid to late 90s, the company acquired a jet. I don't ask me whether it was 737 or 747 or 777 or what. I'm not sure, but I know they acquired a jet and they started making international flights. All right, the GSC, as it was called then, like I said, eventually collapsed and was bought by a private outfit and renamed the GAC, or GA 2000. All right, and while the GSC went under, GSC collapsed in 2001, and then this private outfit took over the assets and started flying, or continued flying. And unfortunately, after leaving a lot of people hanging in the air, collecting the fares and so on, and then not returning the stuff and compensate persons for the loss that they would have eventually suffered because of the fact that um, the flights were not going any place any longer. After doing all of that for a while, in 2003, unfortunately, GA 2000 collapsed as well. They went bankrupt. But that did not cause the airline industry to collapse in Ghana. I think the smaller industries thrive. On that, like Trans Guyana and Williams and so on, they made good money. Roraima Air became between then and 2015 became an international carrier, taking people around the Caribbean as well. And sometime after the APNU AFC administration came into office, it is my understanding, based on the research that I did, an attempt was made to resuscitate the Guyana Airways Corporation. And I think at that time, there was the word incorporated. Guyana Airways, GSC Incorporated was the name. I may have a few things kind of not right, but when we get to our guest, we will straighten out all of those things that are not straight. Um, I remember somebody calling me and telling me, hey, GSC is coming back. And then there was an advertisement on Facebook and it was in the local media, and people were encouraged to apply for jobs as air hostesses, or they call them stewardesses, and stewards and pilots and so on. And then after a while, we weren't hearing about GSC again. And I was wondering what was going on, you know. But I came to realize that today we're going to be having a guest, the person or one of the persons, if not the main person, behind the whole resuscitation of this GAC initiative. A gentleman who is a medical doctor by profession and who also has, I believe, based on what I saw, more than 22 years of flying experience in the commercial industry, sitting in the cockpits of jets and so on. And that person is our guest today, like I said, Mr. Dr. Colin Abrams. We want to welcome you to the show today. And whatever I got wrong, Doc, please correct for us.
Everything. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Well, thank you, my brother, for inviting me on in your Perspective show. And hello to all your listeners and viewers. I'm happy to be here this morning.
All right. So Dr. Abrams, like I said,
Yes,
is a medical practitioner. And we're going to talk about something about what's coming, what's in the pipeline in a minute.
Okay.
But for right now,
Okay.
we want to talk about this initiative that you were trying to bring on board. I know that there was a whole lot of money spent to resurrect this thing, and then something went wrong. Tell us what's going on.
Okay. In 2016, I sent a letter to the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority notifying them that Guyana Airways Incorporation is now owned and operated by Colin Abrams, and we would like to get into the market into Guyana to fly around the Caribbean and also in North America. Well, 2016, we had the talks with them. 2017 was a year of the doldrums, you could say. 2018, we resuscitated the talks, and we met our entire board of directors, and so we met with the Civil Aviation Authority in Guyana. They promised to work hand in hand with us, and so we could get the airline off the ground, so to speak. While we were doing our due diligence in getting the airline, oh, by the way, a little background on me. I'm a retired Delta Airlines pilot. I've been flying for 45 years.
45 years. I'm way off target.
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, I just dated myself. I tell you, I should have stayed with the 22 years. Anyhow. So as I said, we were doing our due diligence, spent a lot of money to get the airline up and running. And the snag that we went into, we got involved with, is the government decided to pull our registration. Pull our registration, correct. This after having the name for 3 years. Because I spent a lot of money with attorneys to make sure that the name Guyana Airways was available. Remember, anyone, you, even your son, grandson, whomever, could have gotten the name Guyana Airways. All they had to do is incorporate the name in Guyana and register it. We did that. There's a 6-month grace period where anybody, if they go Guyana Airways, or any name out has been registered, you could say, I don't really, I'm against this name or whatever. No one did. 3 years later, while we're in our expensive buildings, paying salaries, hired flight attendants, pilots, and the whole works, then we hear, well, you can't use that name. Well, why? So we had a court case, and we won in the Supreme Court, in the high courts of Guyana. Let's just say behind the scenes, our Director General, who will remain nameless, and your guests and you guys could do your own research. Behind the scenes, all the cooperation in the world. Then he got to the media and said, oh, yeah, they never applied for this. They never applied for that. And we're going, what? What is he talking about? So it was obviously some concerted effort to stop the operation. I can't tell you who it is. I don't even want to delve into that right now. We're just going to talk on the surface for this morning. Okay. This new administration, we had talks, but everything stalled. That's where we are at this moment. I mean, COVID-19 was also a part of it, because COVID-19, it put a wrench in just about everything worldwide. The whole entire Caribbean was shut down. The United States aviation was shut down.
Right.
Out of 24,000 aircraft that was flying in 2019, only between 12 to 15,000 were flying in 2020. Yeah,
that's interesting.
A lot of them were parked in the desert in Arizona and in California. Yeah.
This is a heavy blow to me, because I was thinking that the administration that I supported then, and I'm still wheeling my support behind them, was pro-investment, and we were pushing our folk to ensure that investors come in, and those investors, more likely than not, would have been friendly towards every Guyanese, and would have been willing to employ Guyanese. I was so happy when I saw those adverts, encouraging people to apply for.
That was Colin Abrams generated. Well, the whole thing is, I left a very high-paid 6-figure job and retired early. Took all my money I had in my retirement plan to invest in this company, right? Went back to Guyana, thought I would be welcomed with open arms. Yeah. I sought the advice of Stanley Ming, who was very tight with the government at the time, and he gave me a step-by-step. This is how you should do it. Involve the government. We had a lot of talks with them. I'm not gonna talk about this part, but anyhow, involve the government. But no, all I got was the stiff arm. I went through Go Invest, did all my due diligence. Go Invest, everyone, the entire building, the office building we had there in Barak, near High Street. We had a container furniture, came from the United States to Guyana, and the taxes that we had to pay on the furniture for the office was just. We talked to Go Invest. Guyana was not set up for an operation like ours. That's all I'm going to say for now. Wasn't set up. And when the Director General got into office 6 years ago, he said, we're going to make Guyana a Category 1 country. Meaning, what that means is, right now, any airline certificated in Guyana cannot fly to the United States, because Guyana is a Category 2 country. It's not even on the books. Category 2 countries, unless you already had Category 1 and you got downgraded, you're not even on the books. You see? So his thing was, his whole mantra was, let's get Guyana Category 1. Well, how do you do that? It can't be done unilaterally by Civil Aviation Authority. It has to be done with a certificated airline. And here's the proviso. Provided that that certificated airline in Guyana wants or has the desire to fly to the United States. Canada is not a problem. You see, Canada does not require you to be a Category 1 category. It's a United States. It's an American thing. Okay? So what happened was, you need an airline with the desire to fly to North America, the United States, right? That airline, after it's certificated, has to apply to the Department of Transportation in the United States for a foreign air carrier certificate. After, when you apply for a foreign air carrier certificate, that is the triggering mechanism. That's the triggering mechanism that allows the DOT to get the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, to fly down to Guyana with their team and do an ICAO, International Civil Aviation Authority audit, safety audit on the Civil Aviation Authority of Guyana. It's not an audit on me, my airline. It's an audit on the Civil Aviation Authority. Okay? So they had to pass that. That was one of the big hangups there. Well, it's going to take 18 months. Well, normally, in Trinidad, in Suriname, it takes 90 days.
Wow.
Yes. So there was a lot of foot dragging and all that type of stuff. So I was burning money like you cannot believe. We were burning up capital. It was nothing more than a capital burn. So the whole time we went through litigation, all those aircraft that we leased, they were paying for, had to be, I made the decision to, let's turn it back in. Turn them back in. And back in those days, I had pretty good deals on aircraft, pretty good deals. And then, of course, the 737, the 800, the MAX did a split test into the ground twice and then the prices of aircraft went skyrocketed in 2019. The price I got for 2 aircraft, I couldn't get it for 1. Anyhow, with all that said, where we are right now is it's a stalled process, and it looks like we're getting nowhere fast.
It looks like we're getting nowhere fast. Can we assume then that it looks like, at least it looks like we're getting somewhere, though it doesn't look like it's fast?
Well, that means if you're a glass half full guy or a glass half empty kind of guy.
Oh,
you see, if you're an optimist or a pessimist, you see. So I'm a proverbial optimist. I like to look at the glass half full, but you know what a pessimist is. The definition of pessimist, that's an optimist with experience.
Yes.
So with the experience that I'm getting, trying to do business in Guyana, big business in Guyana, it's kind of difficult. Yeah.
I am blown away by this because
you didn't know this. You had no knowledge of any of this.
No, I just knew that we stopped hearing about Guyana Airways. And I was asking myself, well, what's going on? And then we heard Eastern Airlines. It appears to me they were given the franchise to transport passengers from North America and back to Guyana.
You know who Eastern Airlines is? You know who Eastern is?
I have absolutely no.
You ever heard the term, if you take a pig and you put makeup on it, it's still what?
It's still a pig.
Thank you. It's dynamic. That's who Eastern is.
Oh boy! I just knew it was one of the crooks.
With some lipstick and makeup.
I just knew it was one of the crooks. I did say that at the time. I was asking, why is it that Dynamic is coming in a different name or with a different name after having robbed people and currently they have engaged in the act of robbing people again. I am one of the
You
victims.
you have to understand who the players are in the aviation industry right now. Aviation it's not very understood by most. The whole, aviation system. Too many people don't understand it. They don't understand all the nuances of aviation,
Hmm.
right? There are a couple of names who I'm not going to mention.
Right, right.
They're the catalyst, the ones behind all this. Think about, by the way, let me ask you, who was the handler of Dynamic and who was the one pushing Dynamic Airways? Those answers are going to give you perspective on exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
You see? So I'm not going to mention any names. So they'll remain nameless until someone figures it out. You see?
What is strange? What is strange is that I remember one year going home and I got sick at home,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to uh, book a flight on the fly, like
Uh-huh.
ASAP to come back. And when I got to the airport, the handlers, who we will leave as bearing the name the handlers or the
Okay.
representative of the handlers,
Yeah.
one of the representatives asked me to see my passport, and then she proceeded to ask me to see my green card, and I was like, why do I have to show you my green card? You don't have that authority, in my opinion. I have come from the USA, and you clearly see that I have a ticket to go back.
Yeah.
So why do I have to show you my green card? She said, well, you have to show it to me. And then they put me on the line. And I remember there was a police officer there.
Uh-huh.
When I did get through eventually, a senior police officer there who said, I don't know when y'all are going to learn to stop using those people's service and get real service.
Exactly.
And that was one of the reasons why I was happy when I saw this whole thing about GAC coming back, and I was saying, okay, well, definitely we're gonna have a competitor, and the service is gonna improve. And I was seriously thinking, that the APNU FC administration, knowing the connection to the dynamic setup and the dynamic handling setup, I was thinking that they would have allowed this GAC business to come through, not knowing that apparently I'm so disappointed, man.
Your attorney general, who remains nameless, as you already know who he is, fought us tooth and nail. Yes, with the name. All right. The name Guyana does not belong to the government of Guyana. The name America does not belong to the country of the United States of America. American Airlines is not a U.S. owned carrier. It's a privately owned carrier. It trades on the market, right? U.S. Air was not an America owned airline. You see? So with this whole thing about, who does he think he is coming to this country using our name and making money off of it? Did I say that? Okay, that I must have some puppet behind me. Yeah, that type of stuff.
That's petty. I mean, it's childish to me. If you
big picture, they don't. It's the big picture. They don't have vision for the big picture.
Oh my word!
Privately, we'll talk about a lot of things that happen.
I'm stunned. I'm simply stunned.
Because I don't want to air any dirty laundry on
I know,
on your show.
I understand.
That type of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, Guyana. We're not discussing politics today, but
correct.
Politics in Guyana.
Two things we don't talk about: politics and religion.
The politics is so smutty that you don't dare mention certain things, or else you don't go forward.
Exactly.
We look like we're moving slowly, but then if we go down a certain road, we may not go at all. So I prefer for us to go and end up. So tell us.
Yes, sir.
Having invested all of these funds,
tell me about it.
what what is the forecast like now? Like, I mean, was there any offer at any attempt to assist in putting something in place to recoup some of the funds that you would have lost via this process or anything like that?
Okay, here's a doozy for you. When I won the case in court, I was awarded X amount of dollars by the judge. Ask me how much of that money I got since 2018. That alone will tell you. You see? So remember, they're leaders and right by name, and then they're people who lead. Right?
Mhm.
You can't lead from behind. Can't. You see? So there you go.
In the meantime, we the people continue to suffer because
Exactly.
there's no right now we've got JetBlue going in there. I checked the price for a ticket going into Ghana. I mean, like, a startup industry definitely would have had to come with a price, though not necessarily matching the established industries or established airlines, but it would have had to be somewhere close in order for you to be able to make money and generate. Well, you can't even talk
Well,
about generate.
this is what we do. This is the model that we have for an airline that I had for the airline, Guyana Airways, was a cargo airline carrying passengers. The money made in the airline industry is not with passengers, it's with cargo, right? And I don't want to tell you in detail the whole distribution center. It would involve a lot of people in
No,
Guyana.
you're gonna lose some of the ideas if you say it's gonna be copied.
Exactly, right. That's exactly what we'll talk about it privately. But yeah, it was a cargo airline carrying passengers, where the money was primarily, the big bucks were made downstairs, right? The belly of the aircraft, while upstairs was gravy. We would have been able to lower the fare at a really reasonable price to attract individuals to fly Guyana Airways. Well, you have to have a government that's a leader, right? To say, you know what? Our people have suffered long enough from being fleeced by all these airlines coming into Guyana. It's talking about, American, JetBlue, and the whole lineup of airlines, not even mentioning Caribbean Airlines, who makes more money on the Trinidad Georgetown route than the Trinidad Miami route. Wow. I could get a ticket cheaper going from Trinidad to Miami or Miami Trinidad than I can't get from Trinidad to Georgetown.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It was the fleecing of Guyanese, and the fleecing continues because people are not looking out. Companies are not looking out for the people. They're looking out for their own bottom line.
Yeah.
We were going to have a different culture, a different everything to Guyana. Now, you're with the whole cargo operation, you would have been able to, people who have perishable goods, fisheries, or crops, they know we have scheduled flights, and they could send out these perishable items on these flights around the Caribbean. You don't have that. There's no short sea shipping in the Caribbean, meaning any shipping that doesn't go across the ocean. It comes from the United States, and it comes down the Caribbean, and it goes back.
Right.
Not around the Caribbean. You see? That's the problem. People have to stop looking at, bottom line is everything. Of course, we have to make money, but the primary focus is not just money. Right? The people. How could we provide a service for people that they could enjoy, that they could make money, could bring capital into the country? The GDP of Guyana could skyrocket. We have employment. Guyana has a high level of unemployment. You know that.
Definitely.
And COVID-19 just exacerbated it. Made it worse. So I don't want to get, once again, I want to get into the politics of all that. We just talked about the business. We just mentioned the business and
Right, right.
aspect, the business aspect of it.
I did some research, and I think one of the things that I observed is that, or I discovered, is that there was a plan to have, at least the document that I looked at said daily flights to Cuba.
Correct. We had a contract.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Remember, the Cubans now had, instead of going to Colombia for their visas, Guyana was the place that they had to go to get their visas.
Oh.
The Cubans also went to Guyana to do some massive shopping, some big time shopping, right? They used to go to those Chinese stores and they shopped.
Right.
They shipped it back to Cuba because the tourist industry, mostly Canadians, went to Cuba for vacation. So anyhow, but that's that they supported the tourist industry by buying a whole bunch of stuff and shipping it back to Cuba. And they did it in US dollars.
You know what I also discovered during that period, because I was so excited about this Guyana Airways thing that I did a lot of research.
Me too.
I did a lot of research during the period, and I was told, I don't know how true it was, but I was told that with the price that Dynamic Air was charging for a ticket, that as long as their as long as the front of the aircraft was sold out, they would have made the money. They would have covered the expenses for the trip. So everything behind there is profit. And
who was the Dynamic handler in Guyana?
Well, an unnamed source.
And let me ask you this: why did the Civil Aviation Authority of Guyana allow that to happen? Why did they allow it to happen?
I don't want to pound the CAD a whole lot, because I would. I leave that up to the guest. But I have a contact there.
I know you do. I know you do.
I don't want to make it seem as though I am disregarding the present.
I know.
But the truth is,
let me tell you, I would never come on your show. I would lie about anything.
I know.
Let me put that out right there, right now. I will not lie about anything that happened with Guyana Airways. I will tell you the truth. If I ever come on your show, whatever I'm on your show, and everything I tell you about Guyana Airways is the truth. I'm not making things up or anything. And you know what? I could show you all the evidence. I've got it. I've got documentation. Show it to you. As a matter of fact, if you go on the Guyana Airways Facebook site, you could look, and I have the minutes of the 2018 GCA meeting with Guyana Airways, and you compare those minutes with what you're hearing from those folks there, and you make the call. I don't have to say much. You just read the minutes. Each individual is by name. It shows you what they said, what they were saying. We're here to help you. We're here to give you a helping hand, whatever. And then they go to the press and say something else. It's like, different. What? The two faces of GCA. You ask your contact about that.
Well, I have two problems. I have a problem. I was about to say I have always, but that would not have been the truth. I have, in more recent times, had serious problems with the former AG of Guyana. And I have always, from the time that they went into office, been questioning his competence in that area.
His what?
His competence.
Competence and AG?
Yes. I was questioning his competence.
That's an oxymoron, my friend.
Because I have
never won a case. Never won a case. Hey, look, here's Exhibit A. Never won a case. He lost one against me.
Well, I say no more. And then I have another problem
Yeah.
with the head of the CAD. Who well, I'm not gonna say why I have a problem
You're
because
talking CAD, you mean CAA, GCAA,
the
Guyana Civil Aviation Authority?
sorry that yes the Ghana
Okay, yeah,
Civil
GCAA.
at the time, well, back in the days, I haven't upgraded myself for my memory. I haven't updated myself.
Okay,
But back in the days, we know it was CAD, right? Civil Aviation
okay.
Department. But it has since, I don't know.
2000, they did a change.
Oh, right. But I mean, so
Back in the day, there wasn't even it came under a different department.
why aren't you allowed to make a change? I mean, it's like not Guyana Airways Corporation anymore. It was Guyana Airways Incorporated.
Remember this. Remember this. What happened was in 1999, April 16th, Guyana Airways was liquidated.
Right.
Liquidated. We're talking made, and the Guyana Air 2000 assumed all the assets of Guyana Airways Corporation. They assumed all the assets. So the Guyana Airways was non-existent.
True.
Non-existent entity. Didn't exist, right? Guyana Air 2000. So what they were saying is what the names are the same. Guyana Air, no, they're not. Guyana Air 2000 and Guyana Airways is not the same. You see, even if that were the bone of contention, you could have worked with us and said, look, let's come to a compromise. Let's do something for the country and have an airline, whatever. We could have suggestions. Why don't we name it this? Why we name it that? No, but that's what happened. So completely with the AG.
So that now leaves me to ask. Well, we're not going to talk politics because there are lots of things that are flowing through my mind. Who was the gentleman representing really? Yes, I will. Definitely will. So I really want to jump onto the other aspect of your future exploits. But let me ask one final question.
Future exploits. Future exploits. No, they were co-exploits simultaneously.
Oh, well, that even makes it better.
Let me tell you, guess this. I represented Guyana in the 1988 Olympics in sprint cycling. Since this is the Olympic year, and that's the only reason why I mention it.
I gotta make a note.
Yeah, sprint cycling. And the thing is, the reason why I mention it is because they honored all the Olympians from 1972 forward. They were honoring them. Guess who they didn't honor?
Colin Abrams.
Guess what? Remember, it's not like the United States, they got tens of thousands of Olympians. Total amount of Olympians ever in Guyana, it's less than 30. Ever competed for the country. Oh, we forgot him. We forgot about him.
I have got to really do some more work on this thing. I mean, I have got to do a whole lot more work because this is getting even more interesting by the minute.
Yes, sir.
This is getting
represented him in Seoul, Korea.
Oh my goodness! I was saying on another on the show a few days before now. I would think that it would benefit the Guyanese nation. I'm not looking at the government or anything. I think it would benefit the Guyanese nation immensely if we were to harness all of the resources that we have in the diaspora and get a contribution from them, not money, but their input, their mental and academic input. Get something from them.
I got the impression that they weren't interested. We don't want to hear that. We stayed here. You guys in the diaspora went there, you made your money and whatever. Now you come back here trying to tell us what we should do, what we shouldn't do. That's my personal thing. Yeah, I'm not saying that this was an overall thing. That's what I got.
Well, I guess it's obvious. It's obvious in the dealings. That's why we were able to eke out a meager 1% and then 2% in the oil. Let's not go there. I mean,
Yeah. You don't want
is
to go
there
there, my brother, because
is there
I get my.
we still got your thing in the pipeline, so we don't want to get that
No,
too
that's okay. We
too
can talk
much.
about anything you want to talk about.
No,
Anything
no,
doesn't matter.
no. Is there a potential target date that you hopeful by that time everything would have been sorted out, or because of the poor outlook right now there's nothing that is in
Okay,
the
I'm here to tell you, and you hear it from the horse's mouth. I will never invest my own money in Guyana from this day forward. It would have to be investors, people who have to come up with millions of dollars to invest in airplanes because of the horrible experience that I've had in the past. So if any investor want to come in with big bucks, and look, I have all the ideas. The ideas are here,
Mhm.
which
So
definitely, because remember, from Delta Airlines, I learned a lot. I have a doctorate in aviation management also, besides being a medical side doctor. But so I have not only the experience from this, I had experience from experience from actually, I should say, experience from actually doing it. I
so
mean,
is this
Delta's I flew for the world's largest airline, right, as a pilot, and boy, did I learn a lot of stuff for all the years I've been there. And to give up a job, which was basically a part-time job, making a ton of money, right? I
is
worked
it
12
was it
days a month. I worked
was
12 days a month.
a month? Wow.
I made a big six-figure income. That'll tell you. 12 days a month. I could make my schedule. I could have worked 10 days if I wanted to. You
Oh,
see?
Lord
And
of
then
course.
my other days I was playing doctor. You see? I had a different hat on.
um
I was saving limbs from amputation, and that's one of my specialties. I save limbs from amputation, especially from people with diabetic neuropathy. By the way, this is a segue.
yeah. I was just about to say let's segue from the
The
gloomy to the
politics,
bright
the
to the
political
hopeful.
side.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
segue from the gloomy to the hopeful.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking with someone who has a, at least for the time being, as far as I'm knowing, a double doctorate. So tell us about the medical side of Miss Dr. Colin Abrams.
Well, let me talk about my specialty is saving limbs from amputation. You're
Mhm.
familiar with Dr. Mitchell, Ivor Mitchell, who passed away, what, 4 or 5
Yes,
years ago?
I don't know the person. I don't know him
You know
personally, but
of
I
him,
know of him.
probably
Yes,
know of him.
yes.
Well, he was going to have a double amputation, scheduled with
Oh,
double amputation. I saved both of his legs.
oh,
So he's the Guyanese individual that I could reference.
right, right.
Uh, I help people walk again, that type of stuff. Because in naturopathic medicine, as I told you earlier, we get to the root cause of the problem and not just suppress your symptoms. Because if you're driving down the road and the red warning light says engine hot, what modern medicine does is they take the bulb out. Well, that symptom is gone.
But you still have
There's
you
no
still
more
have
engine.
the
But 2-3 miles down the road, what happens? You see?
engine is gonna
So
blow.
a drug, you have to constantly take it to suppress the symptoms.
Hmm.
Your choice. You could go with God's medicine or go with pharmaceuticals. That's the difference between naturopathic medicine and modern medicine. You notice I said modern because it's only been around for 100 years.
Right,
So,
right.
and we all
Um,
take a Hippocratic oath to the
okay.
father of medicine, Hippocrates. And what Hippocrates says? Let food be thy medicine and
Mm-hmm.
medicine thy food.
Okay.
He also said, do no harm.
So you are currently a practicing at what
Physician,
at
naturopathic physician, naturopathic physician. Yes. I even had, look, I had a practice in Guyana also. When I was, because with Delta, I flew, I used to do the Guyana, I decided to fly the Guyana route. I went at that aircraft. I used to fly, 4 years I did that, or a little less than 4 years. So I opened up my practice in Guyana on Camp and Middle. I signed there. I did mostly pro bono work. Mostly pro bono work, right?
So you would have paid your dues already.
Oh, many times over, my friend. And well, I talk about paying dues. I also have a foundation, but we'll get back to that later. So I would fly in to Georgetown, go to the hotel, take my nap, then go to my clinic. After being a pilot, I went to the clinic. And then I used to bid for many 95 hour, sometimes we have 95-hour layovers in Georgetown, layover in Georgetown. And I'm down, then get on my airplane and play pilot back to New York. That's what I did for many years. So, and then after Delta decided they don't want to go back to Guyana, I shut everything down and then moved my clinic to Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how can Guyanese benefit from your medical knowledge? And
let me interrupt you right there. Andrew he's got all my information. He could probably put it at the bottom of your screen, how people could get a hold of me. And I have a channel, a YouTube channel with, it's all free with medical videos on how to stop a heart attack immediately. That's the one I put out yesterday. Today is going to be how to treat, what to do in the event of a stroke. These are things to know, good things to know in the event a loved one, relative, whatever, happens to have a stroke. You could go, this is what you do. Remember the acronym FAST.
Right.
F, right. Facial part. A, arm, your arms don't do it. You see? S, speech. Right? You can barely speak. Right, T, time. Time is of the essence. This almost the identical stuff is about a heart attack. First thing, 911. You in America, I see your background. You definitely in America.
Yes.
And you could call 911. While somebody in Guyana, I don't know what the number is they would call in Guyana, or if they would get, even get emergency service.
Well, let's hope it's working.
I sincerely hope so. Sincerely hope so. So those things, I talk about just about everything. Heart disease, cancer, you name it. I have like 90 videos. Also in Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah, in Spanish also.
So we wanna at least Guyana for right now, in this moment is not benefiting from your investing
my expertise.
Yeah, well, let's use that word, from your expertise in the airline industry.
Okay.
But you did in our pre-show chit chat indicate to me that there is a desire for us to merge. Do amalgamated something.
Sure,
so
you
can benefit.
Absolutely. My YouTube channel, you have all the information. Anyone could go there, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because with the subscription button, it's kind of a misnomer, subscribe, because every time we see subscribe, we think, do I have to pay for this, right? Which is nothing more than on Facebook, follow. You're following me,
right?
So if when I put out any content on the platform, people would be notified, and you got to turn on your notification bell. They'd be notified and go, oh, let me see what this crazy doctor is saying today. You see?
So your proposal, we're gonna try to put something together so that we can utilize the service that you have to you are putting on offer.
Sure. And ask the doctor segment, a segment where you ask the doctor. And here's something else. I make a video a day. So what they can do, could have your guest could call in, and they could suggest, this is a medical topic, subject matter. I would like to, you could make a video on.
Okay. So we'll definitely be putting that into motion. We don't want to be like some other people who are delaying stuff and all that. So we're gonna put a motor into that and try to get that running from next week. I'll tell you something else.
Yeah.
There was a young lady. Well, there are several young ladies who asked questions. But this particular young lady asked me one day, Mr. Bork, you're a Christian, so why don't you have a segment where you do some kind of Bible study or something? I think people like that. So I said, well, I look at it, and I'm going to work on it. But now we're not going to only have the possibility of a Bible study segment. We're going to have the Ask the Doctor segment.
That sounds good.
So we're looking at least an hour of interaction with the doctor, Dr. Abrams, Dr. Colin Abrams, and we're gonna concretize those arrangements and immediately float it out there so that people can come on. And I guarantee you, I can assure you,
yes,
that we will, this, especially the Ask the Doctor segment, will have no less than 10,000 hits each. Segment is going to have no less than 10,000 hits. We're going to test it the first show.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd be happy to answer anything and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
and once again, they could go to my channel, as you could put the information of the channel at the bottom of your screen, so people could go there. They could even contact me on WhatsApp, right? No phone calls. They just text me, because many times I'm on. But I started a virtual medical center where I do internationally, anywhere in the world, because of course, thanks to Google, we can translate a lot of stuff. So it doesn't matter. You could be in China or Africa, Zimbabwe, anywhere in Zimbabwe, Africa. As a matter of fact, Zimbabwe, I used to live there, flying. Oh yeah, I used to fly out of Zimbabwe. I flew out of Malaysia. I lived in Malaysia. I lived in North Africa. You name it. I lived in Brussels, Belgium for 5 years. Flying for, well, remember, you got to remember I told you I was in this business for 45 years. In America, and you know what it was like. Brown-skinned people like me couldn't get a job flying for a major airline. Right? Couldn't get a job flying for a major airline because they had the old race box on there. Right? So it was a good old boys club. It was a good old boys club. And after lawsuits from a lot of different individuals and organizations, especially OBOP, Organization of Black Airline Pilots, started opening up. Coupled with the shortage of pilots. Pre-pandemic. Remember, when I got hired, when I left Delta, I should say, we had 14,000 pilots. Of which, 14,000 pilots, of which we only had 163. With my kind of pigmentation.
Oh, my
you
word.
See? 163. So many times you walk through airports, people would look at you kind of, can you carry my bags? This back
I know that exact feeling. I know that exact feeling.
Aren't you a sky cab?
And then you say,
no, ma'am, I might be flying you somewhere today.
Exactly. There was, you the pilot? And you don't hear my apologies following that. It's just that, dismissed. It's unfortunate, but this is the world in which we live.
Yes, my brother, that's how it is, unfortunately. And of course, you're in the US and it's gotten worse here lately. We had 4 years of an individual who completely changed the country in just about every aspect of the country. And now we're in the CPR mode, We're trying to resuscitate them.
Fast tracking. I make full use of the freedom of speech that's available here. I am not even sure that we can categorize that individual as an individual anymore. That is way beyond being an individual.
Oh my goodness, it's like, and then we have a new guy who is, they say, oh, he's boring. I like boring.
Exactly. I like that kind of boring.
That kind of boring, exactly.
I like that kind of boring. No, listen,
good one.
I think we have embarked on a good thing. I usually say to the folk that just because of the fact that I have to make this space available to another member of the household, I have to jump off. But I definitely am looking forward to our other segments. I'm particularly interested in what comes out of the medical segments, but because of the fact that I am a Guyanese at heart, and I think a lot about our Guyanese people. So I look, you can spend. I checked it the other day. I looked at a ticket. The ticket cost from here to France was less than the ticket cost from here to Guyana. I'm like,
a lot cheaper. Yeah, you might as well go to Europe.
Oh, yeah. I need to go home, but the price is like double going to Europe. So it's better than just flying over Europe.
Here's a lot of another part here. You've got to pay for let's say you're going from Miami to Georgetown on American. You buy your ticket. You have to pay for each individual suitcase that you want to check back, right? Right. If then the price goes up exponentially as if you go beyond 2 suitcases. Then you get to the gate. You got your boarding pass. You get to the gate. You realize, oh my God, I got a center seat. I'm a big guy. I need an aisle seat or a window seat. Then you talk to the gate agent and said, yeah, is there any chance you could change my seat? Oh, sure, we have a seat available for you, sir, but it'll cost you $65.
Precisely so.
I said, what? So, I'm talking about my own experience. Of course, I pull out my little Delta ID and and I was able to get it for free, right? A free upgrade, which is, interline complimentary upgrade. If you want to call it upgrade from a center seat to an aisle seat or a window seat to the emergency exit. To begin with, you got to be an able-bodied individual in order to be able to sit in those seats.
Yes.
So that's why they're the ones that seats that they assign. See? So you do the math, and your ticket might say, $450 or $400, but when it comes down to how much the bottom line is with the entire trip, you're talking about the $450, your bags.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, on a almost a 4-hour flight, he said, "Where you going?" All right, I'm gonna get a nice sandwich or some kind of meal.
That's right.
And he come around with a card and says, "Yeah, what you got?" Is it? We have chips, and you can get chips and a beverage. Okay. But I need something of substance because I've been sitting around the airport for hours. So they go, okay, we have a meal here for you, but it's $12.
Oh, yeah.
You see? So you could get one of the complimentary beverages and snacks.
Oh, yeah.
Right? For free. However, when it comes to a meal, you got to pay for it. So a seat on an airplane is not more than a commodity. You get paid for everything. By the time you add it all up.
Oh, and that's the reason why we need a flag carrier.
To begin with, who in Guyana right now can initiate a flag carrier operation? The one guy who knew more about aviation than anybody else who ever lived in Guyana. His name is Hugh Denbo.
Oh, well, he's no longer.
Well, we'll talk about that too, because that's another conversation. But yeah, Hugh.
Oh.
Hugh was going to Riddle while I was a flight instructor out of Opelika Airport in Miami.
Oh, okay.
We're talking 100 years ago.
Yes.
You see? You Denbo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got
So
we've got to continue this Guyana Airways Incorporated talk on another segment as we go
absolutely,
along.
absolutely. I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to.
But I mean I'll tell you honestly, I'm extremely disappointed because
Mhm.
I was really looking forward to this initiative coming off the ground and
Mhm.
making the opportunity for or providing the opportunity for Guyanese to be employed. And some Guyanese would have had the opportunity to go around the world, whereas they currently would not be able to because
Right.
you're not going to get to go anywhere with Eastern Airline. You're not going to be able to. Well, you're not going to ever be able to get into the American airline market on the payroll. Neither will you
Mhm.
be able to get onto the JetBlue payroll.
And you
Never.
remember who? Ask yourself this: who gets employed? Who's making the money when JetBlue flies into Guyana? JetBlue, and only the handler.
Yeah,
Who handles JetBlue?
and
JetBlue in Guyana.
and it's
Who
the same,
handles?
the same
Remember, you
on
got two
links.
big handlers, two major handlers in Guyana, right?
Hmm.
Who handles them? Who handles Eastern? That's where the money is made.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
see, so these are the little fine things that you need to take a deep dive into.
I have a viewer who's asking what area in Atlanta is the clinic located.
No, that was that. I After I retired from Delta, I sold my clinic, my practice, everything to come move to Guyana.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I didn't
so
need anything in America anymore. I was going to Guyana because they're going to welcome me with open arms.
currently there's not an operation in Atlanta.
No, I only have a virtual. It's a pandemic
Oh,
because that
there's
was
just
going
a
to reopen.
virtual clinic,
I
just a
went to
virtual
the
operation.
virtual medical
Okay,
center.
okay.
We
So
have a virtual medical center. You could give them all my information, and I'd be
mhm.
happy to.
I'll jump on it and I'll share the information with the folk. To are paying all the money that you take where you're going. Yeah, they're talking about the experiences on the airline. Oh boy,
Yeah.
Guyana, we're gonna continue to be exploited until we die. You know,
Remember what the buzz phrase was in with Guyana Airways coming back, bringing back what?
the
National
pride.
pride.
Yes.
There's no national pride in Eastern. There's no national pride in American. There's no national pride in Dynamic or any of the others.
Hmm.
You see, people have to stop with the self-serving, their interest, self-interest, and start
Mhm.
looking at the national interest.
Right.
National interest. What
Yeah,
I gave up.
that's what we really need. People who are Guyanese at heart, and you have the Guyanese people.
There's
Guyanese
something
people.
called giving back.
Yes.
How about giving back? You see,
Hmm.
because we did okay when we left Guyana. Now you go back to the country and you give back. But a lot of them, they mistook the whole giving back as you're there to take all you can out of the country. You see, misguided.
Yep. We've definitely covered a lot of territory, and there are a
Yeah,
whole lot more that we can cover, and we will cover. Well, I don't want to
absolutely.
say we shall cover. We will cover because we will have to navigate some bumps and some hurdles so that we don't
Yeah,
get ourselves into
into
legal
trouble.
jeopardy. Yes. So we will cover a whole lot more, and I'm certainly and
Well, notice today it was very tempered. We didn't we didn't name names.
definitely
We
not.
didn't name parties. We didn't name anything. You see, so basically we're following the right road.
Yes.
We're on the right road.
As per Guyana standard.
Exactly. Good call.
It was a pleasure having you on the show today, Doc. And
Well, thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on your Perspective show, and to all your viewers, your listeners. Godspeed. And God bless.
we just want to confirm one thing with the folk because
Yeah.
some folk probably are not necessarily you know, witty, so they can pluck something out of a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah.
So Dr. Colin Abrams, they might not have gotten it before, they might have missed it. Dr. Colin
Uh,
Abrams resides in the diaspora, but he is Guyanese to the
by
bone.
birth.
He's Guyanese. So,
Correct.
and again, we're saying this is not just one of those fly by night people. This is
Yeah.
somebody who holds, at least we know, a
Yeah.
double doctorate, and he is not just a medical doctor. He is adept in the his experience and knowledge of the airline industry. So we've got some good things in
I'm
store.
the only one with all the licenses in aviation, major licenses in aviation.
There we have it,
I have them all.
and you're Guyanese.
There you go. In the world. I'm talking
in the
about.
world, in the
In the
world,
world.
and you're Guyanese.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much, Doc, and you have a wonderful day. God's blessings on you and your family. And one other thing, the
Yeah.
folk who are listening and are watching,
Yeah.
I would want to put a plug here.
Yes.
We're not talking denomination,
Yeah.
but we're talking religion.
Yes.
When you have God in your life,
Yes.
you progress, you
Okay.
achieve.
My brother, after every one of my videos, you'll see it says God bless. Everyone. The last thing you see in my videos, you would say God bless. You know, because we cover a broad spectrum of
Yeah.
religions, right? So you don't want to go and mention
Nailing
any
one, right,
particular one, right?
Mhm.
So I just say God bless, because regardless of what name you address, you call God, you know the bottom line is God,
Yes.
right? You could call it whatever name you want to call it, Jehovah, Allah, whatever. See, so yeah, it's God bless after every video. It's right there, and and amen. Just what you need to do is just have them go to my channel. If you give them the link, they could subscribe and they could see it's a lot of good, important information. They could watch my videos and enjoy. Forward it to their friends and relatives. If they see something, you know what? Uncle John's got this. Let me send this to him. Right?
Certainly, Doc. And I just like to remind the folk, you can go and look for Dr. Colin Abrams's channel, Facebook
It
channel.
says Shirley Media Productions.
Shirley.
SURLEY Media.
S-U-R-L-E-Y.
Where's Andrew? He's not doing his due diligence.
Shirley Media Productions.
Yes, Shirley.
YouTube,
SURLEY.
Lots
Yes,
of videos.
and
on
by the
YouTube.
way, okay, before I get off, I gotta mention this. I have a foundation.
Okay.
Dr. Colin Abrams Humanitarian Foundation. Okay, that foundation is to feed the hungry in developing nations around the world. You see, so if anyone wants to make a donation, be happy to, because since the pandemic, worldwide, there've been so many food deserts have evolved in many regions of the world. People are really hurting. In the United States, we got a big government. It's helped and organizations around the country. They help to feed the American citizens and residents. It's not as bad now as it was a year ago, or maybe even 5 or 6 months ago, with the COVID relief plan.
Yes. But
other countries don't have that. And that's why last year I started the organization to, we're doing a lot of work in Colombia, in other South American countries. And we use churches. Our distribution center, it has to be a church.
Okay.
That's the food. If it's not a church, we don't talk to you. We don't deal with you. All the food distribution centers will be via churches.
Wonderful. Definitely, we get into depth some more.
I had to make that plug.
Yeah. We'll definitely talk about that a whole lot more in future editions of the program. I just am holding, when as a pilot, you would know the term. You're in a holding pattern for a little bit.
Holding pattern, right?
While Mr. Weeks has the
Oh, I
information
see.
running
I
in the
see.
background
Mr.
of the
Weeks is in
screen.
action now. Now
Yes.
he just woke up, or
So,
what?
so we're having the program running. We're having to put the program in a holding pattern for a little bit while that information is run across the screen, so that people
Yeah.
can pluck it out to that little ribbon there for future reference. But we're gonna post it onto the page so the
Yes,
folk
sir.
can have it. So Doc, have a wonderful day. God's richest blessings to you and the family, and we look forward to our other segments with you.
Okay, you too, and same to your listeners.
Thank you. Have a
All
wonderful
right,
day.
pleasure, my brother.
You're so welcome. All right, thank you very much for tuning in, and it's 9:23. This has been a very wonderful and the most informative program today. I don't like to do this, but because of the fact that I know my friend on the other end is you know dealing with the bills there, I would be forced to say again, please drop a little something in any one of these kitty pots down there. The Cash App, the what you call it again, the PayPal, and the Venmo. Drop a little something there so that we can take care. And then now I was seriously working on shutting the whole apparatus down after a while because it's telling on me now. But with this medical thing, that is something that I'm really, really interested in. So we're definitely going to keep rolling, if only with the medical aspect of it, and maybe a little Bible study, something at some time. But yeah, this is new hope, new light, and we're going to rock and roll in that direction. All right, looking forward to seeing you again on Monday by God's grace. Um, the Zell people, well, I'll work. I've been trying to work something out, but so far, Zell is a very funny set of people working there, and they're not crackers. But we'll talk. We'll talk. I'll give you some solution to that shortly. All right. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in, and spread the word. Soon on his perspective, Ask the Doctor segment is gonna start. Hopefully next week. Ask the Doctor with Dr. Colin Abrams. All right. You have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. God's richest blessings to you. Until Monday, this is your host, Branford Borg, saying ciao for now.